Heyo, this is Jihat, and welcome to my first speed paint video. Since it's my first, I'm not really sure what I should talk about, but let me know if there's anything in particular I should cover in future speed paints. For now, I'll just talk about the drawing a bit. So I made this piece because of the Mermay event a lot of artists participate in, where basically in the month of May, they draw a bunch of mermaids. So I decided to draw some of my original characters as mermaids, but since I can't do anything normally, I made a half flounder that you're seeing here, a half lobster, and a half barnacle creature. So this lobster dude here is usually a human. His name is Ducky, and he is a tall, lean body type. He's a black belt in Taekwondo, so he's physically fit and about 15 or 16 years old. I'm still not great at drawing different body types, especially like without clothes, so there's less room for error. That was one of the struggles I had with this line art. I've been watching tutorials on character design, and a lot of people emphasize the importance of like different silhouettes. So I tried to make Ducky like a tall, lean boy, while his friend Gars, the flounder in this drawing, is more of a short, buff boy. And then this barnacle girl is their friend too, who is also more short. She's more on the chubby side. I made her a barnacle because she lives a very sedentary lifestyle, so I thought the barnacle life would suit her best. I don't really have a particular reason for the flounder or the lobster though, I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny, and I rarely see goofy mermaid art, so had to fill that void, you know? Okay, so now starting the final line art layer. I was super nervous, to be honest, but the good thing about digital art is the undo button. Also that you can resize and reposition without erasing. Like, I know it's not, but it kind of feels like cheating. Oh, and shout out to my bro Jason, because he's always complaining that comic book characters always have like perfectly symmetrical abs instead of uneven ones. So I tried to give Gar some uneven abs for you, buddy. Gar is a rabid fitness enthusiast, but he definitely does it for health rather than looks, so I thought uneven abs would suit him. Now I'm doing the line art for Ducky. I had a little bit of trouble with his hair. Like everyone ended up with really chunky hair, but I also don't want to be out here drawing individual hair strands, so I don't know. Like, honestly, I should have looked up a reference for short hair underwater, but it didn't occur to me until now, so whoops. I am kind of proud of how few tries it took me to get that waving hand right, though. Like, I don't think it turned out that bad. The closed fist definitely looks a little weirder, but you know, just don't look at it too hard and it's fine. Surprisingly, the animal parts were the easiest things for me to draw. Like, I guess because there's not as much pressure to make it look quote-unquote right, because, like, be honest, do you really know lobster anatomy that well? Like, compared to human anatomy anyways? Anyways, then I gave Ducky a horseshoe crab bra, inspired by that one time my dad found some horseshoe crab skeletons on the beach and then put them on his pecs. Then I finally started line art for 2. I feel like she definitely came out looking the weirdest. Like, I'm still not that good at body proportions, so I fixed like her left arm several times, but I feel like it still came out kind of weird. But then she's also supposed to be short, so I didn't want to make her arm too long either. Like, and her hands look a bit strange. These characters normally come from a fantasy story, and 2 usually has like ram horns, but since it's an underwater setting, I gave her coral horns. She also usually wears glasses, but I'm not sure where she would have gotten glasses underwater. Maybe a human lost theirs in the ocean, she found them, I don't know. Maybe those other barnacles are her parents, not really sure. Okay, then I started with flat colors. Honestly, I'm already intimidated enough by the line art process, so I didn't do anything too fancy for the coloring. Like, I don't really know how to break into learning different ways to color. Like, I asked my sister Alex, who's an artist, about learning how to color, and she always says stuff like, just experiment and see what you like, and that doesn't really compute with me for some reason. Like, I think it's just my personality. Like, I just want to be told how to do it. I don't want to figure out my own style or anything. Like, the idea that there's no quote-unquote correct way to do it makes it more intimidating for some reason. Like, at least with anatomy and such, I can try to be more, like, anatomically correct, or I can point to their hands and be like, those don't look right. Like, y'all haven't seen me draw any feet yet, but when you do, we'll be able to point at them and say, those don't look right. But, like, with coloring, I don't even know what looks right and what doesn't. So it's just like, how am I supposed to know if I like that or not? Or, you know, like, what if I like it, but my taste just sucks? Like, I don't know. If anyone has advice on how to learn to color beyond just experiment, see what you like, I'd love to hear it, because I have fear. And like, again, oddly enough, the animal parts were much more comfortable for me to color than the human parts. Like, probably again because the average viewer couldn't look at it and be like, wow, what a poorly colored lobster. Like, nobody's ever said that. I used several reference images for each animal that I found on Ecosia. Like, if there's any particular reference that you see me using that you liked, I wrote down the website I found it on too. Though in the future, I'll probably get the entire URL because what I have there isn't very useful as a photo credit and it doesn't have the name of the photographer or anything. But for now, that's what I have. Watching this back, I'm also realizing I should have used clipping layers instead of erasing whatever went out of the lines. But oh well, next time I guess. If I were to do it again, I'd probably work more on incorporating animal elements into the human half of the design too, like I did with the lobster antenna / mustache situation here. Like other artists I saw drawing for Mermay usually put like extra scales on the human half or fins on their arms and stuff like that. Like maybe I would have added a lobster claw instead of a hand, or for the flounder, I could have moved both eyes to the side to one side of his head, I don't know. So do expect something far derpier next year, but anyways. I actually made a pretty big mistake here with the flounder tail, but luckily I caught it before I got too far along, and that is that I just assumed that the ventral and dorsal sides of a flounder were the same for some reason. Like, it wasn't until halfway through that it occurred to me to make sure that the bottom of a flounder looks anything like the top, and turns out it doesn't. The bottom is a lot plainer, I guess because it doesn't have to camouflage with sand or gravel. And I couldn't really tell from the references, but it seemed that the bottom part is less voluminous than the top part. Not entirely sure, but that's what it looked like to me. So I flattened out the bottom part, fixed the foreshortening on the fin a little bit, and changed the color on the bottom part too. I started with a pink here, but eventually I changed it to be more, yeah, there we go, more greenish. Then I started redoing some of the line art for the barnacles. Now, I didn't really know off the top of my head what lobsters or flounders looked like, but I really didn't know what barnacles looked like at all. So after I looked up some reference pictures, I changed the line art a bit to look more like the references. Though out of the animal parts, I'll still say the barnacle looks the worst, meaning that it looks the least like an actual barnacle, like barring the human part, obviously. Another thing I did for this drawing that I might change if I do another like this is that I made them all like, proportional to each other based on their human halves instead of their animal halves. But, oh well. I mean, I don't really have much else to say about this section of the video. I'm gonna start coloring the bras soon, so please just enjoy this footage of me coloring everybody's bras. Alright, then I started coloring the barnacles themselves. I will say I have a new appreciation for the beauty of barnacles. Oh, oof, you saw me go back there and redo the coloring. That's because I did it in the wrong layer and had to undo it and do it in the correct one. From how much other artists complain about doing things in the wrong layer, I'm guessing that it's kind of impossible to stop doing that annoying thing where I accidentally draw things in the wrong layer. So I guess all there is to do is lament it when it does happen. The coral was kind of fun. I've never seen live coral in the wild, but I'd like to one day, even though I'm afraid of cone snails. That was probably a very uneducated thing to say, but I admit I do not know the range of cone snails. I'm sorry. Anyway, then I started on the background. The background was definitely the scariest part for me because, like, as much as I have no idea what I'm doing with regular art backgrounds, I especially have no idea what I'm doing. So right there, I'm doing my best to draw some rocks. I was aiming for more of a sedimentary rock look, but if I were to do it again, I'd probably use a lot more like off-whites and yellows in the rock, because if it's sedimentary, then I would think those colors would be in there more since they're underwater. but I mean, I don't know. I also see a lot of gray rocks when I go to beaches, so maybe it's fine. Now the sand, like, I think that came out alright. Like, looks pretty sandy to me. I also put some green to be like algae, because I figure they're probably in like a pretty shallow pool. I don't know if a lobster and a flounder would be there, but they will go there just for two, you know? I colored the fish real quick, then started shading with the airbrush. Now, normally I prefer cel shading with flat colored drawings, but since they're underwater, I thought maybe the lights and shadows would be more diffused. Probably should have looked up more references to confirm that, but I was feeling quite lazy towards the end of this piece, so I did not. And there we have the finished product. While not very artistically impressive, for a first major digital drawing, I think it's pretty decent. I'm at a skill level where literally any aspect of the drawing can be improved upon, but if you do happen to have a specific constructive criticism or methods or tips for improving my skills, please do let me know. That being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a thumb up if you did, and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this from me, and I will see you guys in the comments. Bye!